It hit me like a slap, sharp and cold. I wasn't prepared for it. Didn't see it coming, though in hindsight, I suppose I should have. "I think you're too old to host Thanksgiving this year," my daughter-in-law said. Her voice so sweet, so innocent, but laced with something venomous beneath. I froze. It wasn't just the words. It was the way she said it, as if it was a fact I should have known all along, as if my age had finally caught up with me in a way I couldn't ignore. Her words weren't a simple comment. No, they were a challenge, a statement that I no longer belonged in the family I had helped shape, that I no longer had a place at the table. I stood there, at the threshold of my kitchen, the scent of roast turkey filling the air, and I felt the weight of it press against me, pulling me down. But I couldn't let it show. I kept my back straight, my hands steady, and I gave her a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "That's fine," I said. "But the turkey and the house are mine." My words hung in the air between us, but they didn't faze her. She simply smiled back, a practiced, polite smile, the kind you wear when you're already thinking about how you'll do things your way. But I didn't back down, not this time. I could feel the years of hurt, the little slights and the moments of quiet disrespect swelling up inside me. This wasn't just about Thanksgiving, it was about everything. The way she always made comments about how my age made me a burden, how I needed help with every little thing. How, in her eyes, I was no longer relevant. But the thing is, I wasn't ready to go quietly into that good night. Not yet. When my son called to confirm the dinner details, there was a certain hesitation in his voice, like he was walking a tightrope. But I wasn't fooled. This wasn't about Thanksgiving anymore. This was about control. About how, for years, they had chipped away at my sense of belonging, my sense of importance. I stared at the family photo on the wall, my husband, my son, and me. I used to be the glue that held us all together, the one who made sure everyone felt welcomed and loved. But that was slipping away, wasn't it? My own family had stopped seeing me for who I was, for what I had built and fought for. And my daughter-in-law had decided it was time to push me out. But that wasn't going to happen. Not today. Not ever. I turned to my daughter-in-law, who was still standing there, waiting for my reaction. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me crumble. Instead, I smiled. "The house is mine. The turkey is mine. And this Thanksgiving will go exactly how I planned it. You can stay if you'd like, but only if you remember who made this all happen." I saw her face fall. It was subtle, a flicker of surprise, quickly masked by another smile, but I didn't miss it. And right then I decided I wasn't going to let anyone treat me like I was invisible. This Thanksgiving was mine to host. That was the moment I knew I had to take back control. My name is Loretta, and I'm no stranger to sacrifice. For years I've worked behind the scenes, doing the heavy lifting of family life. Thanksgiving dinners, birthday parties, quiet moments of support. I've always been the one who showed up, always. But somewhere along the way, my place in this family began to shift. I've been a mother, a wife, a sister, and yes, a grandmother. I've weathered storms, my husband's job losses, my son's rebellious phase, the quieter moments when I had to hold everything together while the world seemed to spin out of control. I have always been the anchor, but the tides are changing, and lately, it feels like I'm being swept away. Maybe it's because I've gotten older. Maybe it's because the world sees me as past my prime, a relic of a time when things were simpler. But I refuse to believe that's all there is left of me. Age doesn't define a person. It just doesn't. I take a deep breath as I sit down in my living room, the familiar scent of pumpkin pie filling the air. I think about the years I've spent in this house. The walls, worn and comforting, are lined with memories. There's the family portrait, yellowing at the edges, a reminder of better times, before the silent rifts began. The holidays used to be a time for everyone to gather, a time when family meant everything. But somewhere in the past few years, it began to feel like I was becoming a ghost in my own home. It wasn't always this way. I remember when my son Bradley was younger. He used to look up at me with such admiration. My heart swells with pride just thinking about those days. He was my little boy, my baby. But now it feels like I'm not even seen. And his wife, Emily, my daughter-in-law, well, she's always had a way of making me feel invisible. At first I brushed it off as her being young and naive. But over time, her comments have grown sharper, more pointed, and less masked by the polite smiles she used to give me. I wasn't imagining it. I know what she's doing, even when she thinks I don't. She's trying to take over, trying to stake her claim. I can't blame her, not entirely. She's young, she wants control, and my son adores her. But she has no idea what it takes to truly hold a family together. To build it brick by brick, through years of hardship and joy. I can hear the faint buzz of the television in the background, some cooking show, no doubt. It's always the same on Thanksgiving Day. They gather around, they laugh, they chat, and I'm in the kitchen, working like I always do. I've never minded the work. It's the pride I take in it that keeps me going. But I also know the way my daughter-in-law looks at me, like I'm an outdated piece of furniture that doesn't quite fit in anymore. There was a time when I would have let that slide. I would have smiled and told myself that the younger generation has their place, that things are just evolving. But something about that comment hit me in a way nothing else ever had. You're too old to host Thanksgiving. It was like she was declaring that I had no more value, no more purpose. I'm not going to let her have this. I'm not going to stand by quietly while she runs roughshod over the family I built. This Thanksgiving, I'm taking it back. I'm reclaiming what's mine, not because I want to, but because I have to. And I know it won't be easy. I look around at the familiar setting of my living room, the old armchair where my husband used to sit, the rug worn from years of use, the dining table where so many memories have been made. I can still hear the sound of Bradley's laughter from when he was a boy, the quiet warmth of family moments shared around this table. I won't let that be erased, not for anyone, not even for Emily. Where are you watching from today? I ask, my voice steady but soft. The question is a lifeline, a way to engage, to connect. It's a small request for all the strangers watching, for all the people who might understand the pain of being overlooked. The guests are arriving soon, and the kitchen is starting to feel like a battleground. But I'm ready. This Thanksgiving is mine to host, and nothing, not even my daughter-in-law's sharp words, will take that from me. The clock ticks, and with each passing minute, the weight of the day settles deeper into my bones. I've never been one to shy away from hard work, never been the type to give up on what I love. This kitchen, this home, they've been the heart of our family for years. The scent of roasting turkey, the simmering cranberry sauce, the golden mashed potatoes, these are the smells of memories. But today, they are also the smells of defiance. I've already made the stuffing, the way my grandmother taught me, with sausage, onions, and a touch of sage. I've prepped the potatoes and set out the dishes, all ready for a meal that will be just as it always has been. Delicious, homey, perfect. It's the ritual of Thanksgiving, and I will not let it be tainted by a single word of doubt. But I can feel her watching me. I can feel Emily's eyes, the way she hovers by the kitchen doorway, her arms crossed as if she's waiting for me to trip over my own feet. It's like she's waiting for me to fail, waiting for me to show that I'm too old for this, too old to manage everything myself. Mom, are you sure you've got everything under control? Her voice carries a tone I can't ignore. She's being helpful, but I know what it really is. It's that same passive-aggressive judgment I've become too familiar with. I turn, my hands still busy in the flour and butter of my latest creation. I've got it, I reply, my voice cool but firm. There's no room for hesitation, no room for self-doubt. If I give her an inch, she'll take a mile. Just let me handle it, Emily. I can't help but feel a flicker of resentment. Every year, every holiday, it's always me in this kitchen, me making the calls, me ensuring everyone is fed and happy. And now she wants to take it all from me. She thinks she can just walk in and take over my place at the table, my place in this family. She doesn't realize that I fought for this seat. The sound of her footsteps behind me, slow and deliberate, is enough to make my shoulders tense. I just think maybe it's time for a change, she says softly, like the words don't carry the weight of what they really mean. You've done it for so long, but we need to start thinking about the future. You know, for the younger generation, I can feel the sting of those words deep in my chest. I'm perfectly capable of handling it, Emily. I turn around to face her, my hands still working, but my eyes locked onto hers. You think I can't keep up? You think I'm too old for this? This is my home, my tradition, my family. And I won't let anyone push me out. Not now, not ever. For a brief moment, the room feels heavy. I can almost see the words she wants to say, the ones she's too afraid to voice. The room feels too small for the tension between us, and I know she's realizing that she's pushed too far. I watch her face fall, just slightly, but it's enough. That look, the one she didn't expect from me, the one that shows I'm not backing down. Well, if you need anything, I'll be over there, she mutters, gesturing to the dining table. But the edge in her voice is unmistakable. She's angry, but I'm angry too, and I'm tired of pretending I'm not. I turn back to the oven, pulling out the turkey, golden and crisp, the scent filling the room. There's a certain peace in the smell of something cooking just the way it should be. Perfect, effortless, as if the years of practice have finally paid off. And in that moment, I know exactly what I'm doing. I take a deep breath and smile to myself. Today will be different. I'm not just cooking dinner. I'm setting a boundary. I'm reclaiming the respect I deserve. Emily can have her new generation idea all she wants, but I'm not backing down. This Thanksgiving will be mine. As I finish preparing the meal, I feel a sense of quiet pride wash over me. I've always taken pride in my ability to care for my family, to make sure they feel loved, even when they don't express it in the way I need them to. But today, I'm not doing this for them. I'm doing it for me. By the time the guests arrive, I'll be ready. And Emily will know, everyone will know, that I'm not someone to be underestimated. This house, this family, this dinner, they belong to me. And I'm done letting anyone take that away. The doorbell rings just as I'm finishing up the last of the gravy. The house feels warmer now, the sense of a perfect meal filling every room, and I take a moment to step back and admire it. Everything is in place. The table is set just as I always do it, a few mismatched family heirlooms scattered around, the heavy silverware polished to a soft gleam, and the centerpiece, a bouquet of fresh autumn flowers, bright against the rich, amber colors of the dinner. I can hear the chatter of my son, Bradley, and the laughter of my grandchildren outside, followed by Emily's voice, sweet and saccharine as always. Her tone never varies. It's always the same polished pitch, the same careful delivery, like she's auditioning for something I can't quite place. I can feel it in my bones, the faint undercurrent of tension that follows her wherever she goes. I'm about to make my way toward the door to greet everyone when there's a soft knock on the kitchen entryway. I freeze. Mom? Bradley's voice is soft, but carries a note of uncertainty. I've heard it before, that little hesitance when he's unsure of how to approach me. I turn, meeting his gaze, and immediately I know something isn't right. He's standing there, shifting his weight nervously, but it's not the usual warmth in his eyes. I've seen him look like this before, when there's something he knows he has to say but doesn't quite know how. I brace myself for what's coming. Can I talk to you for a minute? His voice is low, and he glances over his shoulder as if making sure Emily isn't listening. That's when it hits me. This isn't just about dinner. This isn't just about Emily's comment. There's something else going on here, something deeper, something I haven't seen. Of course, I reply, my voice steady, masking the rapid beat of my heart. I follow him to the corner of the kitchen, away from the rest of the family, and wait for him to speak. There's a long pause, the silence stretching out between us. Mom, Emily's upset. She thinks you're not, well, capable of hosting anymore. Not just Thanksgiving, but everything. His words sting, sharp and direct, and they hit me harder than I thought they would. The sting of betrayal I felt earlier now expands, swelling in my chest until it's almost suffocating. I open my mouth to speak, but nothing comes out. For a second, I just stand there, feeling the weight of the world settle heavily on my shoulders. This isn't the first time Emily's made me feel invisible, but it's the first time Bradley has confirmed it to me so blatantly. I told her you were fine, that you've always done this, he continues. But there's an edge to his voice now, one I don't recognize. But she's worried about you, Mom. She says you're too old to keep doing all this. There's a pause. I can see the conflict in his eyes, the way he's torn between his loyalty to his wife and his respect for me, his mother, Bradley. I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself. You know this is my house. This is my family tradition. You grew up here. I've worked my whole life to keep this family together. Don't let her make you doubt that. Don't let her take that away from me. He lowers his eyes, and I can see the tension in his jaw. I know, Mom, I know. It's just, I don't want there to be any more problems between you two. We all need to get along, especially with the holidays and everything. That's when I realized the depth of the issue. This isn't just about Thanksgiving. This is about the erosion of the foundation I've worked so hard to build. It's about my son being pulled in two directions: his loyalty to me, his mother, and the expectations of his wife. And in that moment, I feel a surge of determination. I won't let this continue. I won't let them break me. I place my hand on Bradley's shoulder, and for the first time in a long while, I speak with a strength I didn't know I had. This is my home, and I'm not stepping aside for anyone. Not you, not Emily. This is my tradition, my dinner, and I will not be made to feel less than I am. I watch as my son processes my words. His eyes soften, and I know that deep down he understands. But I also know that a part of him is conflicted, torn between the two women who have shaped his life in different ways. Emily has always been the one to tell him what he wanted to hear, while I've been the one to remind him of the things that truly matter, the things that last. Bradley nods slowly, finally meeting my gaze. Okay, Mom, I get it. I just don't want things to blow up. I give him a small smile. Things will be fine. They always are. But this year, it's my way, and Emily is going to have to understand that. As he walks away, I return to the kitchen, my heart heavy with the weight of the conversation. But there's also a sense of quiet pride. I've spoken my truth, and I'm no longer going to let anyone tell me I don't matter. Not today, not ever again. The kitchen is quiet now, and as I finish preparing the meal, the doorbell rings again. The guests are here. I take a deep breath. It's time. The house is full now. The laughter and chatter of family, the clink of silverware on plates, and the aroma of roast turkey and stuffing have wrapped the house in a warm, chaotic hum. It's the kind of sound that used to fill me with joy, used to make my heart swell with pride. But today, as I move through the house, I can't help but feel like an outsider in my own home. I make my way into the living room, where the children are running around and the men are lounging, beers in hand. Emily's sitting by the fireplace, her posture straight, her smile tight as she converses with the other guests. It's as if she's doing everything in her power to show that she's in charge. But she doesn't fool me. I know the game she's playing. She's trying to take over, to rewrite the rules of this house. And I won't let her. The tension in my chest tightens as I walk back into the kitchen. It's here, amidst the chaos, that I find myself reflecting again on the words Bradley said to me earlier. The words that confirmed my suspicions about how Emily sees me and how Bradley, in his own way, is caught between the two of us. I can feel the weight of it all in my gut, heavy and suffocating. As I stir the gravy, the soft hum of conversation behind me suddenly grows louder, as if it's drawing me back into the moment. And then, just like that, I overhear something that shakes me to my core. Can you believe she still thinks she can run the show around here? Emily's voice cuts through the noise. It's not meant for me, but I hear it clearly. I freeze, the spoon suspended in midair. She's talking to her sister-in-law, and I know from the tone that this is more than just idle chatter. This is a conversation about me, about my worth, about my place in this family. She's too old for this, Emily continues, her voice dripping with condescension. She just doesn't get it. Thanksgiving isn't about the food or the traditions anymore. It's about the future. The younger generation needs to take charge. Her words hit me like a slap. There it is again, her belief that I'm nothing more than a relic. That my years of love, sacrifice, and care mean nothing. That I'm just an obstacle in the way of what she sees as the next phase, the one where she gets to call the shots. But the sting of her words isn't the worst part. The worst part is the realization that Bradley, my own son, has heard this. He's heard Emily's dismissal of me, her cold disregard for everything I've worked for, and still, he hasn't said anything. Not a word. It's that silence, that lack of defense, that cuts deeper than anything. I take a deep breath and swallow the bile that rises in my throat. I will not cry, not here, not now. I put the spoon down and walk out of the kitchen, my heart heavy. I can hear the voices of my guests, their laughter, but it feels distant. The weight of betrayal is so thick that it chokes me. I glance over at Bradley, who is talking to one of his cousins, and I see it, the slight guilt in his eyes when he notices me. That's when it clicks. I see it now. I've been blind, refusing to see the truth for too long. Emily has been playing the long game, undermining me, and Bradley has been too passive to see it. I've been so focused on keeping the peace, on being the matriarch that holds everything together, that I've let this happen. I've let my own son be manipulated, without even realizing it. I'm done. It's as if a veil has lifted. All the quiet whispers, the passive-aggressive remarks, the subtle undermining, all of it comes into sharp focus. And in that moment, I realize that this Thanksgiving dinner isn't just a dinner. It's the moment I've been waiting for, the moment I'll finally stand up for myself and take back what's mine. I look at Emily, sitting at the table, pretending to be the perfect hostess, pretending to be the one in charge, the guest of honor in her mind. But I know better. I know who I am, and I know what I've done for this family. I take a steadying breath, and the fire in me ignites. The doorbell rings, signaling the arrival of the last few guests. I take one last look around the dining room, ensuring everything is just as I envisioned. The table is set, the food is laid out in its familiar spots. There's the turkey, the stuffing, the mashed potatoes, and the cranberry sauce, glistening like it always does. The aroma of it all fills my lungs, a comforting reminder of the work I've put into this dinner over the years. I can hear the chatter outside, the sounds of laughter mixing with the hum of the oven still warming the pies. My heart is pounding in my chest, but I don't let it show. Not yet. This Thanksgiving is going to be different. I glance at the kitchen clock. It's nearly time to serve the meal, but I can't shake the feeling that something is brewing beneath the surface. It's been building all day. The tension between me and Emily, the unspoken discomfort that now hangs thick in the air. I see her across the room, sitting with my son and the other guests, her smile tightly wound, eyes scanning the room as if she's waiting for something to go wrong. And then there's Bradley, sitting next to her, his body angled toward her like a silent defender. He hasn't looked my way once since the conversation in the kitchen. It stings. I want to go over there, pull him aside, ask him why he's letting all of this happen. But I don't, not yet. Instead, I walk into the dining room, taking a moment to collect myself. I need to stay strong. I need to show them that I'm still in charge, that I'm still worthy of respect. I'm not going to let Emily's words or Bradley's silence break me. Not today, not ever again. I pause at the doorframe, watching as the guests file into the dining room. The laughter fades as everyone takes their seats, and I notice the subtle way Emily looks around, making sure she's in the center of attention. It's almost comical, how she tries so hard to be the perfect picture of the hostess, the one who's in control of everything. I turn my back to them for a moment and take a deep breath, steadying myself. This is my dinner, my house. I've earned it, and I won't let anyone take it away from me. The moment I turn back, my son's eyes meet mine across the room. For the briefest second, there's something in his gaze, a flicker of guilt, of understanding. But it's gone almost as quickly as it appeared, replaced by the familiar, guarded expression he's been wearing all day. It's like he's trying to pretend everything is fine, that nothing has changed, when everything has changed. I step into the dining room, moving with purpose. I place the bowl of mashed potatoes in front of Emily, making sure to meet her eyes as I do. Her smile falters just for a second, and I feel a strange sense of satisfaction. She's not the one in charge here. Not today. Dinner's ready, I say simply, my voice calm but firm. Let's eat. I take my seat at the head of the table, a place I've always occupied. There's no hesitation, no second thoughts. I'm here, and this is where I belong. As the guests begin to serve themselves, I watch the room closely. I see the subtle way Emily tries to take control, the way she hovers over Bradley, offering to serve him first. But I don't flinch. I don't let her have it, not this time. It's not until we're halfway through the meal that things begin to unravel, slowly but surely. The tension between Emily and me has been building throughout the dinner, and now, as the clinking of silverware quiets, it's palpable. I can feel the heat of it in the air, the way it presses against my skin. I notice that Bradley is barely eating, his plate half full. his eyes darting nervously between me and Emily. It's in those moments that I realize what's been happening. This isn't just about Thanksgiving. This is about control, about the power struggles that have been simmering beneath the surface for years. Emily wants this house, this family, to be hers, and she's been chipping away at me, at my place in it, little by little. Bradley? He's caught in the middle, and he doesn't know how to navigate it. And then, just as the tension reaches a boiling point, Emily makes her move. "I'm sure you're tired." "Loretta," she says, her voice dripping with feigned sweetness. "Maybe you should let someone else take over next year. I'm sure Bradley and I could handle it, don't you think?" The words hang in the air like poison. The entire room goes silent. I can feel every eye on me, waiting for my response. For a moment, I consider just letting it slide. Letting her have this, for the sake of peace. But I know better now. I stand, my chair scraping sharply against the floor. I feel the weight of the room shift as I rise to my feet. Every eye is on me, but this time, I'm not afraid. Not anymore. "Let's get something straight, Emily," I begin, my voice steady and clear. "This isn't just your home. This isn't just your family. This is mine. And I've spent years building it, holding it together, keeping the traditions alive. You're welcome to be part of it, but you don't get to take it from me." There's a stunned silence at the table, and I can feel everyone holding their breath. For the first time today, Emily doesn't have an answer. Her smile falters, her eyes wide, surprised by the force of my words. She wasn't expecting this. "You've always tried to push me aside," I continue, my voice growing stronger. "But today I'm not backing down. I'm still here, and I will be here as long as I want to be." The room is quiet now, and for the first time all day, I feel a sense of peace wash over me. I've said what needed to be said. I've stood up for myself, for my place in this family, and I can see it in their eyes now, the respect I've been craving. Emily is silent, her lips pressed tight, but I can see the change in her expression. She's been challenged, and for once, I've won. The silence in the room is almost deafening after my confrontation with Emily. For a brief, tense moment, it feels as if the air itself is holding its breath, waiting for someone to speak, to do something, to break the stillness that now fills the space between us. But no one does. Emily is the first to look away, the proud smile on her face replaced by something darker. She doesn't speak. Instead, she sits back in her chair, folding her arms over her chest, her gaze fixed downward as if she's processing my words. I don't feel victorious, not yet, but I feel stronger than I've felt in a long time. I return to my seat with slow deliberation, my hands resting on the table, trying to steady my heartbeat. The guests at the table, the family I've fed, loved, and nurtured for so many years, watch me closely. The subtle whispers and glances that I'd ignored for so long are now gone. In their place is something new, respect, or at least the recognition that I am no longer someone to be pushed aside. I take a deep breath, still surprised by my own courage. I never thought I'd find myself standing up like that, in front of everyone, but it was like the words had been building up inside of me for years, just waiting to be unleashed. Bradley, who had been nervously shuffling his food around on his plate, now looks at me. His eyes are softer, the guilt in them unmistakable. He opens his mouth to speak, but I shake my head, cutting him off before he can say anything. I don't need his apology, not yet, not when I've just found my voice. "Thank you, Loretta," one of the cousins says, her voice soft but firm. I turn my gaze toward her, slightly surprised. "For everything you've done, for keeping this tradition alive, for making us feel like family." The words hang in the air, and for the first time today, I feel the weight of appreciation rather than the burden of judgment. I smile at her, but it's more than just politeness. It's the acknowledgement that, for the first time in a long time, my efforts aren't going unnoticed. The moment is interrupted by a small voice, a child's voice, piercing the awkward tension. "Grandma," my grandson says, his eyes wide with curiosity as he stands at the edge of the table, a mischievous grin tugging at his lips. "Is it true you're the best cook in the world?" A chuckle ripples through the table, and for a moment, it feels like things might just return to normal. I laugh softly, reaching for my grandson's hand. "It's true, sweetheart," I reply, my voice warm, full of love. "But I'm not just the best cook in the world. I'm the best mom and grandma, too. The guests begin to laugh, the tension slowly lifting. The conversation picks up again, the normal clatter of silverware on plates resuming as people continue to eat. But there's something different now, a shift in the atmosphere. People are talking more openly, laughing more freely. Emily, however, remains silent, staring at her plate, a small frown still playing on her lips. But I no longer feel the need to engage with her. I'm not the one who has to prove anything anymore. As the evening progresses, I find myself surrounded by the people who matter most to me, my children, my grandchildren, even some distant relatives who have come to enjoy this meal. And for the first time today, I'm finally able to relax, to feel the warmth of the room wash over me without the constant tension that had been pulling at my heart. Bradley quietly leaves the table to make a phone call, and as soon as he's gone, I find myself face to face with Emily once more. This time, though, there's no anger in my chest, no bitterness clouding my thoughts. I simply look at her, my gaze steady. "You know," I say softly, my voice calm but firm, "this dinner is for all of us, you included. But it's not about taking over. It's about remembering what we've built together, and that's not something you can just push aside." Her eyes flicker briefly, but she says nothing in response. Instead, she takes a deep breath, as if considering my words, and then nods slowly. It's not an apology, but it's something I hadn't expected. I don't say anything more. The ball is in her court now, but for the first time, I don't feel the need to force her hand. I've done what I needed to do. As the night wears on, I can see the change in her. The edges of her sharpness soften just a little. She doesn't make as many comments, doesn't try to take control. And even though she hasn't directly apologized, something has shifted. There's a new understanding between us, a quiet respect. The dinner continues, the conversation flows, and the night begins to wind down. My heart feels lighter, my spirit at peace. I've reclaimed my place, not just at this table, but in this family. By the time the evening draws to a close and the last of the guests leave, I feel a sense of closure. It's not perfect, but it's progress. My son walks me to the door, and as he hugs me goodbye, I see it in his eyes. Finally, the acknowledgement of everything I've done for this family. "I'm proud of you, Mom," he says quietly. And in that moment, I know that, for once, he truly means it. The house is finally quiet. The last of the guests have left, and the clutter of plates and wine glasses has been cleared away. The flickering light of the kitchen overhead feels oddly serene now, a stark contrast to the storm that had passed through just hours ago. I stand in the kitchen alone, leaning against the counter, still processing everything that's happened. It's strange, isn't it? How quickly things can shift. One moment, the air is thick with tension, filled with words of disrespect, and the next, it's all over. But I know this isn't really over. Not yet. There's one more thing I need to say, and it's been lingering in my mind since the moment Emily opened her mouth earlier today. I've never been one to shy away from a difficult conversation. But this time, this conversation is more than just words. It's about taking back control, not just over the dinner, but over my life, my family, and my worth. I glance toward the hallway, where Bradley and Emily are speaking in hushed tones. I can see their silhouettes through the dim light. They think I don't notice, but I do. I've seen the way she's pulled him into her world, the way she's worked to make him question me. I'm not naive. I've felt the divide between us for a long time, and today I'm going to make sure it's addressed. I walk toward the living room, where they're standing by the front door, saying their final goodbyes to the rest of the family. Emily's eyes flicker nervously when she sees me approach, and I know she's expecting me to retreat, to let this moment pass. But I won't. I've already let too many moments slip by. "Bradley, can I talk to you for a moment?" I ask, my voice calm but steady. He looks up, his face softening when he sees the resolve in my eyes. He hesitates, then nods. "Of course, Mom." He glances at Emily, who's now clearly uncomfortable. Alone, if you don't mind, I add, keeping my gaze fixed on him. Emily opens her mouth to speak, but I raise a hand to stop her. We'll be just a minute. Her lips tighten, but she says nothing as she turns away, walking down the hallway toward the kitchen. For the first time today, I can sense the change in her, like she knows she's losing control, that she's finally been called out. "Mom, what's going on?" Bradley asks as he walks toward me, his voice filled with concern. I can see the guilt still lingering in his eyes, but I don't know if he fully grasps the gravity of today. "Bradley," I begin, my voice soft but firm. "I need you to understand something. This family, this house, it isn't just yours and Emily's. It's mine, too. I've worked hard for everything here, and I've given so much of myself to make sure you and Emily had everything you needed without ever asking for anything in return." I stop for a moment, letting my words sink in. He opens his mouth to speak, but I raise a hand. "Let me finish, please." He nods, a sign of respect I haven't seen in a while. "I know you love Emily, but you can't let her come between us. You can't let her undermine everything I've built for this family. I'm not asking for your loyalty, Bradley, but I am asking for your respect. I need you to see me, truly see me. I'm still your mother, and I deserve to be treated with the same dignity you'd give anyone else." There's a long silence between us, the weight of my words settling in the space between us. For a moment, Bradley just stands there, his eyes searching my face. I can see the conflict in him, the struggle to balance his loyalty to me with his need to keep peace in his marriage. But in this moment, I need him to understand something. This isn't about peace, it's about truth. "I'm sorry, Mom," he finally says, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't realize how much this was affecting you. I've just been trying to keep the peace, but I see now what you mean." I nod, a sigh of relief escaping my chest. "I know you're trying to be fair, Bradley, but sometimes fairness means standing up for the people who've been there for you the longest." He steps forward, pulling me into a tight hug. "I love you, Mom. I'll make sure things don't get out of hand again. I promise." I return the hug, feeling a warmth spread through me. This is what I've been waiting for, not just his apology, but his acknowledgement, his respect. And it feels like a weight has been lifted from my shoulders. When we break apart, I look him in the eye. "Thank you. And remember this. Respect isn't given because of a title or a position. It's earned. And today, I earned mine." We stand there for a moment, in the quiet of the living room, and for the first time in what feels like a long time, I feel at peace. As he turns to walk toward the door, I glance back toward the kitchen, where Emily is lingering. There's still a tension there, an unspoken challenge. But I know now that it's my turn to set the boundaries. I don't need her approval. I don't need her to like me. But I will have her respect, just as I've earned the respect of my son. And that's all I need. The house is finally quiet now, the hum of voices long faded into the night. The clinking of silverware, the loud chatter, and the shared laughter have all vanished. Only the soft creak of the floorboards and the occasional rustle of the wind against the windows remain. It's a strange silence, but for the first time in a long time, it feels comforting. I stand in the kitchen, my hands wrapped around a mug of warm tea. The kitchen, once filled with chaos and noise, now feels like a place of peace. I let out a long breath, finally able to relax. Today, I took control of my life again. I faced the challenges that had been quietly building, the small slights that had piled up over the years. And I didn't let them break me. It's funny how things work out. I used to think that everything I did for my family, everything I sacrificed, would eventually be appreciated, but it wasn't. Not until today. Not until I stood up for myself and reminded them of who I am. The events of the evening replay in my mind. The confrontation with Emily, the uncomfortable silence, and the emotional release that came after. I can still see her face, the way she looked at me when I spoke my truth. There was no anger, no defensiveness, just a moment of realization. Maybe she didn't fully understand it, but for the first time, she knew she couldn't push me aside anymore. I take another sip of my tea, the warmth spreading through my chest, but it's not just the tea that's warming me. It's the feeling of having taken my power back, of having my voice heard when it mattered most. I walk toward the living room, where the remnants of dinner still lie on the table, untouched desserts and half-filled glasses left behind in the haste to leave. I pause for a moment, standing in the doorway. Bradley is sitting on the couch, his hands clasped in his lap, his gaze distant. The house feels empty now that the guests have gone, but there's something lighter about it, a space for healing, for reconciliation. He looks up as I enter the room, and for the first time today, I see a genuine softness in his eyes. "I'm proud of you, Mom," he says, his voice quiet but full of meaning. "You stood up for yourself. I didn't realize how much I was letting go unnoticed." I sit beside him, the weight of the moment settling over us. "I don't want to push anyone away, Bradley, but I'm not going to let anyone push me away either. I've spent too many years putting myself last, making sure everyone else is okay, but I'm allowed to stand up for myself too." He nods, and for a moment, we sit in silence, both reflecting on what's happened. "You've always been strong, Mom. I just didn't see it until now." I smile, the corners of my lips curling up with warmth. It's easy to be strong when you don't feel like anyone is listening. But now I realize strength comes from knowing when to speak up, even when it's hard. I glance over at the empty chairs around the dining room table, the silence now filling the space where so much noise once existed. There's a sense of finality in the air, but it's a peaceful kind of finality. I finally laid down the boundaries I needed to protect myself, and it feels like I'm breathing for the first time in years. Bradley breaks the silence again, his voice thick with emotion. "I didn't realize how much you were carrying. All these years I thought everything was fine. I didn't see what it was doing to you, what Emily's comments were doing to you." I put my hand on his shoulder, offering a reassuring squeeze. "It's not your fault, darling. You've been caught in the middle of something you couldn't control. But now I've done what I needed to do, and I think we can all move forward." We sit there for a while, just the two of us, the weight of the day settling into a quiet understanding. There's no need for more words right now. What's important is that we both understand each other better than we did before. As the night deepens and the house grows quieter still, I feel a shift in my heart. There's still work to do, still conversations to have with Emily, but I don't feel the urgency to fix everything in one day. The important part is that I've taken the first step. I've reclaimed my place, not just at the table, but in my family. And that's enough for now. The evening has stretched on long enough. The house is quiet, but the air feels full of unspoken words, lingering in the corners, waiting for someone to say them. I can feel the weight of it, the quiet tension between me and Emily, the unspoken understanding that things between us are not yet settled. Yes, I've stood my ground, but now comes the real test. Setting a lasting boundary. I find myself walking slowly down the hallway toward the kitchen, where the light still burns softly. It's late now, and the house feels like it belongs only to me. There's a strange comfort in this solitude, in the absence of chatter and forced pleasantries. I've been surrounded by family all evening, but the only thing that feels real now is the quiet resolve growing in my chest. I reach the kitchen door, and I see Emily standing near the counter, her back to me. The scent of cinnamon and sugar still lingers in the air, remnants of dessert leftovers, but it's not the smell that draws my attention. It's her posture, the way she's leaning against the counter, arms crossed, her gaze fixed on the floor as though she's deep in thought. I hesitate for just a moment, but then I step forward, my feet steady on the wooden floor. She doesn't turn around when she hears me. Instead, she stands there waiting for me to speak. "I think we need to talk," I say, my voice calm but firm. She doesn't answer right away, and for a moment, I wonder if she'll try to avoid this conversation entirely. But then she slowly turns to face me. Her face is unreadable, but there's a flicker of something in her eyes, something I can't quite place. "I guess it was bound to happen," she says quietly, her voice edged with tension. "I didn't expect things to get so heated today." "No," I reply, my tone gentle but resolute. "I didn't either. But this isn't just about today. This has been building for a long time." She exhales sharply, her gaze flicking toward the door as though trying to avoid the conversation. "I didn't mean to undermine you. It just feels like everything's changing so fast. You're getting older, and I thought you'd want some help. I didn't want to take over." I can feel the frustration bubbling up, but I hold it back. This conversation is important, even if it's uncomfortable. "I'm not too old to host Thanksgiving, Emily, and I'm not too old to be a part of my own family. You can't just take that away from me." She doesn't meet my eyes for a moment, looking instead at her hands, folded tightly in front of her. I can see the guilt now, and I know that she didn't fully realize how her words and actions were affecting me. "I'm sorry," she finally says, her voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I thought I was doing what was best, but I see now that I've been wrong." The apology, though soft and hesitant, carries weight. It's not an easy thing for her to admit, and I know it's hard for her to swallow the realization that she's hurt me. But it's a start, and in this moment, it feels like progress. "I appreciate your apology," I say slowly, my voice steady. "But the real work comes after the words. You don't just get to walk in and take over my place in this family. I've earned it. I've built this, and I'm not going to let anyone erase that." She looks up at me then, and for the first time today, I see something other than defiance in her eyes. There's a flicker of recognition, a shift. She's beginning to understand, I know. "I didn't mean to make you feel like you weren't needed. I guess I thought I was helping." "You were helping by being part of the family, Emily," I say, my tone softening. "But it's my role to lead this family. It's not about age. It's about respect, and that's something we both need to work on." There's a long pause between us, as if we're both weighing the weight of what's been said. Finally, she nods, a small, reluctant acknowledgement of what she's learning. "I'm not asking you to step aside, Emily," I continue, my voice still calm but firm. "I'm just asking you to recognize that I have a place here too. And if you want to be a part of this family, you need to respect that." She takes a deep breath, and I can see her processing my words, the frustration and defensiveness fading into something more thoughtful. "I respect that," she says quietly. "I'll do better." And in that moment, I realize that this conversation, as difficult as it was, has led to something important. It's not just about Thanksgiving anymore. It's about the family dynamic as a whole. And while I may not have changed Emily overnight, I've shown her the importance of boundaries and respect. I've shown her that I will no longer accept being sidelined. I take a small step toward her, offering her a slight smile. "Thank you for hearing me out," I say. "It's not easy, but we're family. We have to work through these things together." Emily hesitates for a moment before nodding slowly, her lips curving into something that resembles an apology. "I'm sorry, Loretta. I was wrong." And with those words, the air between us shifts again, this time, more genuinely. There's a new understanding here, something that feels like a beginning. As she turns and walks toward the door, I watch her leave, feeling a quiet satisfaction in the resolution that's finally been reached. It's not perfect, not by any means, but it's progress. We've set the groundwork for change, for healing, and for a future where respect is the foundation of our relationship. The morning after Thanksgiving is always a quiet one, filled with the remnants of yesterday's feast, the leftover turkey, the uneaten pies, the scattered crumbs of a meal shared by family. But today, the silence feels different. It's not the oppressive quiet that used to haunt me after the tension-filled moments with Emily. No, today's silence feels like a gentle calm, the kind that comes after a storm has passed and you're finally able to breathe again. I stand by the window, staring out at the yard, the autumn leaves drifting lazily across the grass. The world is still. Everything feels still, but in the best way possible. The weight that has been hanging over me for months, no, for years, is gone. I can't quite believe how much has changed in such a short time. One conversation, one moment of standing up for myself, and everything shifted. For so long, I let the opinions of others, especially Emily's, shape how I saw myself. I let myself become small, quiet, passive, thinking that was the way to keep the peace. But peace doesn't come from silence. It comes from respect, from understanding, from both sides meeting halfway, and that's what I've fought for. I hear a knock at the door, and my heart skips. I'm not sure what to expect, but when I open it, I find Bradley standing there, holding a small box wrapped in brown paper, his expression serious but kind. "Hey, Mom," he says, his voice quiet but warm. "I wanted to come by and talk to you, after everything that happened yesterday." I step aside, letting him in. The door closes softly behind him, and we make our way to the living room, where the remnants of the holiday still linger. He looks around the room, almost as if seeing it for the first time, and I can tell something's different about him. "I've been thinking a lot about what you said," Bradley begins, setting the small package down on the coffee table. "About respect, and how I've just kind of let things slide without really understanding how much it was hurting you." I can see the sincerity in his eyes. The guilt that had been there yesterday has softened, replaced by something more hopeful. It's the kind of shift I've been waiting for, the kind of change that only comes when someone truly begins to see you. "I didn't realize, Mom," he continues, his voice thick with emotion. "I didn't realize how much you were carrying, how much you were holding back just to keep the peace between us. I should have stood up for you, should have backed you up. I'm sorry for not doing that sooner." I feel the emotion rise in my chest, that familiar swell of love mixed with relief. My son, my child, the one who's been the center of my world for so long, is finally seeing me, really seeing me. I take a deep breath, holding back tears. "I'm not asking you to be perfect, Bradley," I say gently. "I never was. But I needed you to see that I have a voice too. And for so long I thought I'd just fade into the background, but I won't do that anymore. I have just as much right to be heard as anyone else." Bradley nods, his eyes brightening with understanding. "I get that now, Mom. I'm sorry for letting you down." "I promise I'll do better." I smile, a real smile this time, full of warmth and hope. "You already are, sweetheart. You already are." There's a long pause as we sit there in the quiet of the room. The weight that had existed between us has lifted. I feel the years of tension slowly dissipating, the years of worrying if my place in this family was slipping away. But not anymore.
"I'm here."
I always will be. Bradley leans forward and opens the small box he brought with him. Inside is a simple, delicate bracelet, gold, with a small charm that reads, "Family First." "I thought this might be a nice reminder," he says softly, "that no matter what, we'll always be family. No matter the misunderstandings, the pain, the distance, you'll always have a place with me." I take the bracelet in my hands, feeling the smooth weight of it. My heart swells. For the first time, I feel truly seen, truly understood. "Thank you, Bradley," I whisper, unable to find more words to express the depth of my gratitude. "This means more than you'll ever know." We sit together for a while longer, and I feel a quiet peace settle around us. There's no rush, no need to fill the silence. It's enough, just being here with him, knowing that the path ahead will be different, that the relationship we share is stronger, built on mutual respect and understanding. Eventually, Bradley gets up to leave, but not before giving me a tight hug. I hold him close, feeling the years of love and sacrifice flow through me, knowing that this moment, this connection, was worth every struggle I've ever faced. As he walks out the door, I feel the weight of the world lift from my shoulders. The road ahead may still have its challenges, but I know now that I'm not alone. I've never been alone. And this Thanksgiving, more than any other, I've realized that the most important thing isn't the meal, the guests, or even the traditions. It's the love we share, and the respect we owe each other. I walk to the window, looking out at the world beyond. The autumn leaves continue to drift in the wind, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm right where I'm meant to be,